So this video in particular, I want, because the last video I did was on my delt training, how I improved my delts, and I gave a lot of context behind that. So to help you guys kind of get inside my head, get inside my brain as to how I went about my journey, and how I did things and how I thought about it and the ways I incorporated the tools and whatnot. So you can see, that. So hopefully that can kind of carry over into your own journey. Like, obviously, I'm not going to say, hey, do what I'm doing exactly, because it may not work. Some things may work, but some things, more than likely probably aren't going to work. I had a question from, one of my own rostered athletes this past week. And the question was, I noticed you did HIIT as one of your tools. Is that because you're getting towards that low end and you want to shed those last couple of pounds? What's your reasoning behind that? So basically, he noticed that I did a HIIT cardio session last Saturday in the morning. It's something that I typically don't do. Usually for cardio, the tools of choice when it comes to cardio for me is list cardio, and it's usually recumbent bike or it's walking outdoors. Few reasons for that. One, it's easy to perform. It's not very, aggressive. It's not too intense. So I have no issue performing it. And I don't have any issues recovering from it because the intensity is pretty low. It doesn't impact my recovery too much, and it certainly doesn't impact my weight training, which, when you're in a contest prep and you're in a deficit, your weight training should be the highest priority, because that's going to be, basically your insurance to ensure you're basically keeping a lot of that hard-earned muscle. So those are the main reasons why I do lists. I also enjoy doing it because I can, read if I want. I can listen to podcasts. I can, listen to music, or I could just sit there and just, be in deep thought. And if I'm doing, let's say, a HIIT session, obviously it's going to be a lot harder to focus on a podcast or to even like be in deep thought. Can be pretty grueling. So I definitely favor lists. And on occasion I might do miss because it's a little more demanding, but it's not that impactful in comparison to a HIIT session. So that's the reason why I favor the list and miss. Like, those are my tools of choice. And usually, I'm pretty I progress pretty well with that. And but this past Saturday, so to give context as to why I went ahead and went away from the list and miss and decided to, basically roll with a HIIT session, which is not typical. It's more of a time constraint issue. So Saturday, my wife's mom's, it was my mother-in-law's birthday, basically. So we planned on going to Lake Tahoe, a couple-hour drive from here. We had to get the kids ready, so we had to leave early. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of pressed for time here. I don't have, my normal time to do my hour-long list session. So I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and do a HIIT session. So the first reason I did was just, it was a time constraint, because obviously a HIIT, it's going to be shorter duration. You could burn, a lot of calories in a short amount of time. So I was like, okay, I can definitely get the most bang for my buck in that time period. So it was a 20-minute HIIT session, 5-minute warm-up. I did 10 intervals, 15-second all-out burst, followed up with 45-second, toning things back down, and then having after I was done with the 10 intervals, I did a 5-minute cool down. So it took me 20 minutes. So it was like in and out real fast. The downside to HIIT, though, and the reason why I don't like to incorporate HIIT, regularly into my prep protocols is it's definitely more intense. It's harder to perform, and it takes a little bit more out of me. So my recovery isn't as good. And basically, you know, my weight training can definitely be impacted by it in a negative way. So, you know, again, the priority is my weight training. So I don't want to, you know, have HIIT in there regularly where it would impact, you know, my weight training sessions. But the reason, again, the reason was a time constraint issue, but also I knew in the back of my mind that I wasn't going to be weight training on Saturday. That's my days off, and definitely not on Sunday, because Sundays are my days off from weight training. So I was like, okay, one HIIT session, no weight training for Saturday, Sunday. I should be able to recover from that without too many issues, and then when Monday rolls around, I should be good to go for weights. So that's basically the reasons why I used that HIIT session on that one occasion. Again, it was a tool that I can use, and it was in the right context for my situation. And that's the thing. Again, I'm going to just keep kind of like harping this, and probably in future videos too, is that, you know, you really think about learning as many tools as you possibly can, and not looking at these tools as a black or white thing. It's like, not like, okay, this tool is the best no matter what all the time. It's more about, okay, is this tool the right tool right now? And I think, again, if you have, you know, a big toolbox, like, I'm sure you probably start out with a small one, but eventually you're going to have like a huge toolbox, and you just want to fill it up, keep filling it up with as many tools as you possibly can. But more importantly, as you fill these tools you're going to get more educated and more experienced, and then it becomes easier and much clearer to understand when to use a certain tool, because that can be hard if you don't have the knowledge or the background. You know, it's going to be hard to decipher, okay, when should I use this tool or that tool. But again, having an open mind, not looking at things as black or white, learning as much as you can about the sport, open-mindedly learning, you know, having an open mind as you learn, and then, you know, just over time you gain that experience to kind of know when to use these tools. That to me has been, you know, everybody's always looking for the secret, or, yeah, I think that's basically, if I had to say one thing close to being a secret as far as like unlocking like the key to progress in this sport, it would be just that, like really just having an open mind, learning as much as you can, collecting tools and using them in the right way at the right time. And I think that might translate well into real life too. So, you know, often when I do think about the sport and when I do coach athletes, you know, I tend to think big picture first. Like, I'll think like, okay, what am I doing now? Like, how is this going to affect the future, the big picture? I think often, you know, I got caught up into this way of thinking, like back when I first started, and for many years, like I was too caught up in the little details in a current moment in time. Like I only saw this little window here, and I wasn't really seeing the entire picture. And once I changed the way I thought, and like, okay, let me think big picture first, then once I have the big picture in mind, then I can like go back to the little details and fix those, or put those details in the right perspective to keep me going towards the bigger picture. And I think that's why I found so much success now in my 40s. Is just, again, it's been all up here. So hopefully this helps someone. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and you know, we'll see you on the next video.